And reflecting back on my career at ADP, I struggled. Like I didn't struggle. I was always above plan, but I didn't excel because I was just going with the motion, right? And then I determined when I was like, you know what, F this, dude. Like I'm so much more talented than this. Like I always have done well in everything I do. Why am I just kind of floating around right here, And I made it happen.
Yeah.
I worked my ass off to get to where I needed to go. And then once you get the taste of that, you don't want to go down again.
Yeah.
And so once you get that taste of success, you want to keep moving forward. And whether you stay at that level and you're happy there, or you want to keep making more and more money, or whatever success means to you, you definitely don't want to go back down, or if you do fall back down, you want to get back up immediately as possible. Right.
Yeah.
And so those are the things I think about now as I move forward in this, second half of my life, right? Where do I want to be? What does success mean to me? And how do I obtain what I had or maintain the level that I'm at, And I think those lessons and those sayings like really shape my understanding of the world now and, what I want out of it,
Yeah, and that differs from a lot of folks from our generation and younger, which, because I've had a lot of conversations with people about how they want to improve their lives. And something that I've noticed is common that I didn't know before because it just wasn't as common in my family, but the philosophy of nihilism, right? There's a lot of people out there who are nihilistic, right? Who say, well, there's no point, right? Well, why would I try? I could do everything right and still be miserable and fail, so why even try? And then they end up just having bad habits and making wrong decisions, and then their life ends up worse when they could have controlled it for the better, right? So the first year of this podcast, I called it APE, so the American Pursuit of Excellence, right? And the pursuit of excellence is one of my mottos, right? Because regardless of what situation you're in, I think you should aim upward.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, even if you're in a crapshoot, right? And just absolutely crappy conditions, or even if you're a billionaire, you should still aim upward. I think that will help. Even if you have all the money in the world and you don't need to work, figure out some form of responsibility that you can get better at. And you yourself will end up waking up happier, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that contrast from, how I think you and I think and a lot of other folks out there who are struggling. But that does lead me to one of the questions I had. So you mentioned self-determination, right?
Yeah.
So I love understanding, for successful and happy people, what philosophy drives them. So like self-determination, is that from a book you read, or is that from, a mentor you used to have, or how did you adopt that? And what other philosophies guide you towards striving for more?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things, right? I think it's one of the things was work smarter, not harder, right? So I always wanted a balance in my life to, pursue the leisures that I like to do, right? I have one of my strengths and one of my weaknesses, it depends on how you look at it, right, is I have a lot of different interests, right? I like, cars, I like skateboarding, I like basketball, I like, those are activities, but there's a lot of different things that I like to do, and I like to read, I like to do this, I like to, travel. And so I wanted to pursue all those things. Well, how do you do that, right? How do you get to a point where you have the time?